What is up, everybody? Welcome back here to the Royale. Today, we are talking 2025 running backs. We're going to be looking at the top 5 in the class, what you can expect from them. Look at scouting, PFF numbers. We're going to be pulling those and showing you their analytical profile, and then on the radar prospects. So let's start with number 1. We have Travion Henderson there. Maybe a little bit of a hot take because people just haven't looked at Travion Henderson the same since his freshman year. You'll see his freshman year numbers there: 183 attempts, 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns. He was absolutely phenomenal those years when he was really, really good. He was probably one of the better backs in the country, not just freshman backs, but best backs in the country. The last 2 years, as you can see, the production hasn't been there. He's just been banged up. I think the reality is he's had some lower body injuries that just hasn't let him be on the field. But last year, we did see that receiving kind of work come back. And so really what this ranking is based on what he could be, what we saw from his freshman year. Can he kind of redo that, right? When we're talking about scouting, where he's been and what he does well, speed, he is one of the fastest backs of the class. And I think he's going to test well athletically at the combine next year. He's someone that has that ability. Receiving, he is one of the best receivers. He has all. It's not just dump offs either. He has a route tree. He's able to do that. He's one of the best receiving backs in the class. I really love what he brings to the table there. Lateral agility as well. I think he makes guys miss. Like, he has fluid hips. He's able to kind of he can manipulate defenders. I love what he can do at the line of scrimmage. When he is healthy, his lateral agility is second to none. He's really, really good in that aspect. Areas that he needs to improve on. Well, durability. And you hate to call someone injury prone, but dang it, he's been injury prone the last 2 years. So we really need to see that durability come. Now that he's going to be sharing a little bit of work with Quinshon Judkins, he's probably going to be able to stay durable. Pass blocking for sure. When you talk about pass blocking, you'll see his pass blocking grade. It's not bad as some of the others in the class, but he's definitely got to improve that. And then the big thing for me is between the tackles. He struggles running inside zone. You'll see him really get taken down early. It struggles to break tackles inside. And so if he wants to really be that running back one, he's got to improve there. Now, when you look at advanced stats, what he does well, hey, 89.9 PFF run grade is really good. When you're looking at PFF's numbers, that's top 10 area where he's really dominated. 574 yards after contact. So he doesn't have as much as the other guys in this list that we go into, but that's kind of where he finished last year. 29 missed tackles forced. Again, he has good lateral agility, but where he struggles breaking tackles and making guys miss is at the line of scrimmage, and that's that inside zone. That's really one of his downfalls there. 23 explosive runs, wasn't there last year because of the injury. 73.6 elusive rating, not great. We want that number to be at least over 100. But didn't have that last year. But 70.3 pass blocking is okay. You need to see him improve there, but that's where the numbers go. Now, why is he ranked number 1? That's consensus rankings. Not everybody has him at 1, but what I would say is because of that potential, that freshman year, what he was able to do, people still buying into that. Number 2, we got Quinshon Judkins, Ohio State running back now, coming over from Ole Miss. Absolutely dominated as a recruit in 2022 as a 3-star / 4-star, depending on the recruiting services. 1,500 yards at Ole Miss, 16 touchdowns. Last year, many expected him to really come out of the gate, but he struggled a little bit. He's a little banged up at a lower body injury. Offensive line was bad. He had a bit poor offensive line there at the beginning of the year until they kind of gelled, but was able to kind of turn around. 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns. It really looked better when you're thinking about him as a prospect middle to end of the year. Now he's going to a Chip Kelly offense that's going to feature both him and Henderson. You might see a little production dip because they are kind of sharing carries, but that's going to help limit their the tread on the tires, so to speak. What does he do well? So when we're talking about Judkins, athleticism is there. So when we're talking about them, he has that. Pretty good in terms of that ability to be an athlete. Good speed. I think he good speed and strength. He's got a mix of it, right? He's a power guy, but he also has that agility, able to get to the outside, able to make people miss, really fluid as a runner. Areas of improvement, he's more like, so when we talked about Henderson being a real receiving threat, when you look at him, he's more of a dump off receiving threat. So he's more of like that dump off guy that, when you're looking at the screens, those type of things, he could do that, but hands questionable. He's got ability, but his hands definitely one of those areas. And then running style, I think that when you saw that he got kind of banged up his last year, freshman year as well. I think that he needs to kind of get lower, pad level lower, take less hits on his knees, his ankles, those type of things, because he runs with aggressiveness, but sometimes the aggressiveness definitely gets him in trouble there. Now, the other area that I could have put areas of improvement, if you look down here at his pass blocking grade, was not good. 43.3. That is not where you want to be from a pass blocking perspective. 87.1 PFF run grade was good. 870 yards after contact. That's really where Quinshon kind of, is his bread and butter. After contact, making guys miss. 78 missed tackles for us is one of the best running backs in the country doing that. 39 explosive runs was good too. And his elusive rating, again, you like to see it over 100. 86.7 is all right. But really where he shines is his ability to kind of make guys miss, but also just with that strength, that explosiveness at the line of scrimmage. That's where Quinshon. Now, some people have Quinshon number one. I cannot fault you to have those guys flipped however you do that. But these two guys, I think, are in a tier to themselves. Now, when we get to number three, this is where you start debating. Nicholas Singleton from Penn State was a solid prospect in freshman year. You see the numbers there. You have to like what he was able to do there. 156 attempts, 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. The big knock on Singleton coming out of high school was his lack of pass catching, his receiving profile. And he didn't really do much to do that last year. 11 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown. However, when you're looking at this last year, he kind of suffered from a rushing standpoint. Efficiency went down there, 752 yards, 4 yards an attempt, 8 touchdowns. But his receiving profile went up, right? So he's kind of an enigma a little bit when you're looking at kind of his production. The biggest thing for me is, hey, okay, you improved your receiving profile. Now let's put it all together, right? Penn State's offense was not great last year. He splits time with Katron Allen there, who I really like as a running back. But he did some things that you like, right? From just, hey, he improved in an area. Now, strengths, he does have that big playability. When he gets to the outside and turns the edge, there are not a lot of guys that can really catch him and are able to stop him in that way. Really good acceleration, able to get around the edge, ready to really explode through holes, a line of scrimmage, those type of things. And he is a game changer. So when we think of Nicholas Singleton, we think of game-changing back, can make game-changing plays, explosive plays. You love that about him. Areas of improvement, pass blocking. Absolutely. You're going to see his PFF grade. It's abysmal. He has that split usage with Katron Allen. And then also, just kind of like Henderson, inside zone running. He struggles inside. That's just a big part of his game that's missing. He tends to take 1-2 steps inside, sees that contact coming, and boom, goes to the outside. All of it is all outside. Part of that reason is because of his athleticism, what he did also in high school. You see his high school tape a lot. What you saw is he gets to the outside, boom, and goes, right? And that's part of it. He's still doing that. I think that's part of the system. I hope, we're going to see a new system there. Kansas offensive coordinator coming over, what he did with Devin Neal. I think Singleton will kind of do better there. By the numbers, when you look at him, 70.2 PFF run grade, not great, in terms of what he was last year. 486 yards after contact, 23 missed tackles for, 16 explosive runs. Not great there. Elusive rating was really bad as well. And his pass blocking, 26.6. But 6'2", 224 at the speed that he has, that doesn't go unnoticed, right? I think he has that ability to kind of do that. And he definitely, if you look at it from his freshman to sophomore year, if you can put both those years together, you're talking about a day 2 running back. Now, number 4 for us is Jaden Ott. Now, this is probably higher than most services have him and other brands have him. But, man, I just love this kid from Cal. 6', 200-ish, depending on where you're looking at. 245, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. Now, I know that he's been putting on weight this offseason. They've talked about it in terms of where his weight is at. It's fluctuated. So like 200 is more freshman, sophomore-ish. They say he's gotten up to 210. But again, where does he measure at? I think that's the question. But he's produced, right? True freshman, looked really good. A few of those games, though, really propped up those numbers. Last year, though, more consistent. He did have a few 200-yard games, but 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, and he is a receiving. He's a receiving back. Jaden Ott is one of their best weapons out there. Now, we talk about scouting and what he can do really well. Speed. This kid is fast, and you see that, his ability to break away, in terms of on the field, turn the corner, get in the second level, make those safeties kind of just burns right by him. 3-down potential because of his receiving threat. he has a 3-down potential. I mean, he has good lateral agility. His ability to kind of make guys miss in the open field is what sets him apart. He made Pac-12 defenses look silly. Now, he's not going to Pac-12 next year because of the realignment. He's an ACC, so it's going to see interesting to see how he adjusts to that. But he made them look silly. Areas of improvement, his size, his strength. If he puts on weight, and they already kind of talked about this last season, they said he struggled a little bit to put on weight and keep his speed. That's something to know when you're thinking of his NFL profile. That's probably why a lot of guys don't have him in their top 5. But when I look at it, his skills translate very, very well to the NFL on the speed size and the lateral agility side. Again, for him, inside runs ability, he does it. He does it enough, but he's got to improve there. And in pass blocking as well. Like when we're talking about pass blocking, we have to talk about kind of, hey, these guys got to get a little bit better. Advanced stats by the numbers. He had one of the best PFF run grade. I will say this, PFF absolutely loves Jaden Knott. So like you're going to see the numbers really, really high for him because of how much they like him. 833 yards after contact. He does well there. 59 missed tackles forced is really good. 32 explosive runs, ability to explode to the line of scrimmage, able to make big plays, 10 yards or more. 80.9 elusive rating. That he was really weighed down by a few games that really brought that average down. But consistently, we did see it over 100 mark. 44.4 pass blocking grade is not great, though. We got to see that improve. We got to see that get a little bit better. Now, coming in at number 5 is Ollie Gordon. This guy's now, the thing with Ollie Gordon that is you're going to see him struggle with is what is he, right? 6'1", 211, but as a runner, there's a lot of little nuances in the game that I just don't know, like his running style, those type of things. How well is it going to translate? He had 1,700 yards and 330 yards receiving last year. So he had, give or take, I'm not a mathematician, but pretty close to 2,000 yards from scrimmage. You can't just sneeze at that and just whatever, right? Some people are thinking he's running back 1 or 2 in the class. The question is, how well does that translate over the NFL? That's what you're trying to think, right? When we do these rankings, we're trying to mix a little bit of both. How good are they in college, but how well does that translate over to the NFL from a fantasy perspective and from a Devy perspective? What can you expect from him? I think that's why I struggle with where his ADP is at a little bit, right? So scouting, I think from a running standpoint, he has pretty good patience. I think, for the most part, he's gotten better at letting his offensive line develop holes. Really good footwork. I actually like his footwork. I think it's actually one of the best in the class. See, he has that. That's really a plus for him. And in power, he looks for contact. Patience, footwork, power are really what stands out to me as a back. Areas of improvement, pass catching, not necessarily there. His ability to kind of make swing passes, those type of things, but not really a full route tree. Long speed, I think, is the question. Now, we did see some backs in this last class. They have long speed questions. Do well, right? Blake Corum got the capital, those type of guys. But we also saw Braylon Allen not get capital. We saw some of these other guys not get capital that we expected, partly because of that long speed. And then that lateral agility, it's there, but how good is it? Is it NFL level good? I think is the biggest question mark with Ollie Gordon and what he can do. Now, overall, his advanced stats, 90.4 PFF run grade, one of the best backs in the country. 1,000 yards after contact, one of the best backs in the country there. 68 missed tackles for us, really good. 45 explosive runs, 90.3 elusive rating, which is fine. Like he's definitely improved there. And then 52.4 pass blocking. Obviously, you want to see that up, but that's kind of what it looks like in terms of his advanced stats. Now, let's get into the next guys. Here are some on-the-radar prospects that you can look for. Ashton Jeanty from Boise State. Everybody loves this kid. I like Ashton Jeanty. The thing with Ashton that I struggle with a little bit is why didn't he leave? I know that he's loyal to Boise, but who threw him the bag? I bet you Miami would have gave him the bag over Damian Martinez. So the question is for me is just why didn't he go, right? Like why wasn't he there? Why didn't he go there? Now, when you're looking at, moving forward, when we're talking about other guys, Amarian Hampton, very big back, has that profile. You like that about him. How well does he do without Drake May? Jamari Miller is someone that I really, really like that's going on under the radar a little bit from Alabama. I love Justice Haynes. He's a sophomore there. But Jam Miller could be very, very good. So that's a guy to kind of know. Damian Martinez, he was at Oregon State, just transferred to Miami. So Miami is out there. Played at Oregon State the last 2 years, is now finally going to Miami. Devin Neal at Kansas. And then Katron Allen at Penn State. Katron Allen is one of those guys that's going to turn into a very, very solid running back at the collegiate level. He's someone to know and someone to watch as well. So those are our, when you're looking at overall, when we're talking about our prospects here, those are our top 5 and then our top 10 essentially of the prospects. But there's other guys that I didn't mention. Put them in the comments. What do you guys think? Who are some other guys out there that you think could maybe be a riser of the class? Who do you like out there? What are your top 5? Literally, give me your top 5 in the comments. I love to kind of have that discourse. I love talking rankings. As long as you're respectful, you're dropping those things, let us know. So if you like this and like more of it, be sure to check out our Patreon. We have our rankings up there, our Dynasty Devy rankings, college football. We have all kinds of different options down there. You can see it in the comments below. You can dive into that. So appreciate you guys. I'll check you guys in the next video.